in your future, maybe not. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense you deserve, but only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh, wait, I know.
Better Call
Better
Saul.
Call Saul. We could have done that better. So without further ado, let's begin judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, it's back, baby. We've waited almost 2 years, whatever. Don't have time to get into that right now. Dragon, all I can say through these 2 hours, besides it's great to have this show back and it's in great form once again. I hate watching this shit on network TV, man. I really do. I honestly think it's going to get to a point where I think I'm just going to suggest to my dad, hey, let's just wait one more day, watch it Tuesday nights. And that way I can just pull it up on Amazon and we can have a nice clear copy of it without any commercials. Because Dragon, I'm telling you, the commercial thing was killing me by the end, man. It really was. I think I was so frustrated by the commercials that it honestly legitimately affected my enjoyment of episode 2. But we're not here to talk about episode 2 just yet, folks. We're splitting these first 2 episodes up because if we talked about the first 2 episodes in one podcast, it'd be like a 5-hour long podcast. Don't get any ideas though, Dragon. We're not aiming to make this one 2.5 hours long. But this is a big one. It's Wine and Roses, the season premiere. So yeah, I know Dragon's chomping at the bit to say his thoughts, and suffice to say, I really I'll give you the poster quote here. This felt like the end game for the Albuquerque verse. It felt like the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. Everyone is here. Like we know we're getting Walt and Jesse up on the horizon. It's Dragon. It's just such a great feeling to be back. And episode 2, I will admit, I'm honestly really looking forward to rewatching it. Like I said, by the end of that, I was so beaten down by the commercials. And there's a couple writing things. It's a nitpick that I have with that I've had with this show in the past. I don't really want to touch it until we get into the episode. Suffice to say, I do think that episode 1, they're both great. I think episode 1 was probably the stronger of the 2. But Dragon, what do you have to say, sir?
Yes, so it's so good to be back talking some Saul. Dear God, it was a magical premiere. I'll tell you that. I kind of I wish I did not have to worry about commercials because I DVR'd it so I can fast forward through the commercials. And apparently, some of those, from what I understand, the suckers, overseas, they can watch Better Call Saul apparently added weekly on Netflix. From what I hear, I read that.
Oh
somewhere,
man!
So
what's interesting is that the first episode was free on Prime. Episode 1 was free. Episode 2 you got to pay for, but episode 1 it's like the drug dealer tactic, Dragon. You get a taste.
Of course. Regardless, I thought it was a very strong premiere. I think it opens like gangbusters, and yes, it's so odd that it is very much the end game, even though technically it's the beginning game. Really, ultimately,
I know.
Breaking Bad at all, but it's such a weird cyclical kind of thing we find ourselves in with that, and it's just so much fun. I mean, you feel the thread of finality all throughout this, and I'm basking in it and I'm loving it. I'm loving how it got me with the opening. It's like, okay, we're in the best of hands with our last season. Just the opening, which I'm so eager to talk about. But yeah, outside of that, it's just it was overall like everything that we've set up is really paying off in the show, and like who knew it was ever going to go this far, and I'm so happy that it has. So very exciting that it's been a year, folks. A year without Saul, and just all the speculations. You can only rewatch a show so many times. But here we are.
All right, so Dragon, let's just jump right into it, my friend.
Oh, remember, we do at the top of every show with this. We had to highlight our director and writer duo.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
Excuse me for
so
being anxious.
yeah, let's go giving people their due, Tiki.
All right.
So
All right.
this is directed by Michael Morris. Michael Morris had, just to give you a few examples of what he's directed in the past on the show, he did Quite a Ride, which is which makes him an excellent choice given the opening of this. From season 4, which was kind of our first flash forward with a cold open.
Oh yeah,
Counting,
for sure.
Not counting the Gene stuff, that's per usual. But again, there's some little kind of thing.
The first Breaking Bad timeline scene, we shall call it.
Precisely. And then also in season 5, he directed The Guy for this, which was the first time Jimmy met Lalo. So the writer on this, it was Peter Gould, who, of course, Peter Gould, the man who created Saul Goodman, the co-showrunner with Vince Gilligan. He did the finale of last season. He wrote the finale last season, Something Unforgivable. And honestly, he's written all the premieres with the exception of season 2, which is Tom Schnauz did the switch, season 2. So again. Peter Gould does. I
thought of a really dumb SNL sketch involving Peter Gould and Bob Odenkirk. Would you like to hear it?
Okay.
So imagine Bob Odenkirk in full Better Call Saul get up, just the flashiest suit we can find. But Dragon, there's something off about him. He's a little wooden boy. And Peter Gould is the Pinocchio bringing Saul Goodman, or he's the Geppetto bringing Saul Goodman to life. This is not landing with you at all.
Yeah, that's really not good, Tiki.
I don't know. I'm just picturing anyways.
It's really not. There's nothing of substance there.
We'll get off of it.
Okay, so let's start.
I thought that was funny.
No, not really funny at all. Just kind of weird. Okay. So
I was trying to make a metaphor about, Peter Gould basically being Saul Goodman's father.
Yeah, well, the Blue Fairy brought Pinocchio to life, but it's anyway.
All right, well, you know what? Blame Pauly Shore for having Pinocchio on the mind.
Yeah, sure. Let's blame Pauly Shore on that one. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk the opening.
Yeah, so you teased me, man. By the way, just shout out to Anthony Smith. He said, we're in here. We in here. Yeah, Anthony, we're here. So, Dragon, you teased me with, you said the single image that you saw last night before you had to go record our podcast. Just a singular image. And Dragon, I'm sure it was the ties, right?
Yeah, it was the second I saw, I just saw the ties falling, and initially, okay, or like a black and white Gene scene, and the moment the color showed up, it's like, oh my god!
Right.
I know, it sounds so mundane, folks, but that's the charm of Better Call Saul. It's the little mundane touches that have been built up so much, and it's like just the littlest thing, oh my god, we have color. It's like, that's all I saw, literally that, and then we went on.
So this honestly might be one of the most artful shots in the history of the Albuquerque verse. I know we say that all the time, but just my God, those ties fading into color, that transition, it's just beautiful.
And the first opening of a season without a Gene scene, very intentional, because I'm sure, remember, folks, traditionally, Better Call Saul is 10 episodes. This season, we are getting 13 episodes. So it's looking like we're getting 3 episodes of Gene, or at the very least, an all Gene episode at the bare minimum this season. So
I'm not going to lie, I was thrown for a loop. I mean, this is awesome. It's an awesome opening. Don't get me wrong. But in the back of my mind, I was like, but we don't get a Gene scene.
But remember, though, this is what's happening. This is what happens while Gene is being formed, though. This is this is the aftermath of Gene.
True.
So, but seriously, this is the direct aftermath of the Gene of it all. That Saul Goodman has left, and seriously, I am so over the moon. Of course, our episode title comes from this opening. It's the song "Wine and Roses."
Did you notice the motif that it looks like we're going for with the episode titles this season?
Well, I mean, I know thematically they tied into the episode so far, but I guess we'll find out. It's usually
I'm saying the motif is this episode was Wine and Roses.
Oh, right, the duo thing.
Yeah, the thing and thing.
Yes, yes. Now I know that up to 3 episodes were doing that. I forget if the fourth episode's going to continue that pattern or not. I can't remember. I know they have some episode titles up. I forget what it is past the third one. So
I know at least the third one does it. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if at least through the first half we stick to that motif.
yeah. So I like that motif for sure. I was going to point that out to you, but I thought like I'll let him go into it. It was the whole
No, I like it. I noticed it. Yeah.
But yes. Anyway, so again, the whole the I believe Andy Williams, the rendition of Wine and Rose, and they basically use the orchestration of in this this gorgeous montage of Saul Goodman's house, which was left in the wake of him,
A location that, correct me if I'm wrong, we've never actually seen.
we've never seen
Yeah.
for the purpose of we never saw Saul Goodman's house. And that was always like the proviso of like they're wondering where is Kim Wexler during
So you know
Breaking
what's
Bad.
indeed that was a big like kind of like hanging like looming over the scene.
So
like,
retroactively,
oh God, where's Kim?
We've glimpsed into what Saul Goodman's home life was like, and essentially it's basically in Breaking Bad there's this huge slice of Better Call Saul in there, which is his house that we never saw.
It literally looks like a freaking castle.
So here, remember last season they were looking at fancy houses together, and Jimmy wanted to buy a house with her because I love that. I love the measure of love and affection in Jimmy McGill's world is real estate. Like that's the relationship. Forget the marriage and everything. It's real estate. Having an office together, having a house together. It's all about real estate. Just like Lucy from the Peanuts.
So I'm curious because for me it took me like probably too long to figure out that it was the house and not the office. But did you have like an oh my God? Because of course there's the initial oh my God moment of the color. But did you have like an oh my God moment of like, we're not in the office, we're in the fucking house. Oh God.
Oh
was it obvious to you right off the bat?
I mean, it was obvious. There's like once I saw the closet was the
closet was the indicator for me too. Yeah. Before I wasn't sure. Before the closet, I wasn't sure.
I mean, initially, like when we saw the ties, I was thinking Saul's office, but the moment we went away from the ties, I was thinking, okay, this is the house they bought together, and basically then it was once I saw the two sinks, it was confirmed that okay, this is Saul Goodman's house. This is like yes. So again, just
my mind was like kind of slowly trying to put it together in a really stupid way because when I saw the closet, I was kind of like, wait, does he have like some sort of like, like big storage closet for all his for all his stuff that he got from basically clients that couldn't pay him in cash. But no, that obviously wasn't the case. And then when I saw the bathroom dragon, I had a really stupid thought for a second. I was like, oh, look, he did up his bathroom really nice for the clients.
Oh my God.
I know. But then Dragon, as soon as I saw the gold toilet, I was like, okay, there's no way he's going to do that for the clients.
Yeah, okay, now, again, so this the sequence as a whole, it's a beautiful and sad sequence because it's the melding of it. Again, this summarizes the tone of what I think the season's going for as a whole. This is literally the blending of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. The tone is set. And more importantly, what the sequence is conveying is it's the life he and Kim Wexler built together. That's essentially this is what basically the intimation is that their scheme this season is going to succeed and they're going to get this is the end result of it. That is the assumption. But again, the big mystery this season is teed up in the opening here. Where is Kim Wexler? Because we see the big indication of Kim at the end of this sequence. So before we get there, sorry, I love all the details of the life lived that we've been through.
I mean, look, we could literally spend a whole podcast like being one of those people. Like, did you see that? Look, it's the Mesa Verde logo.
But just the breakdown's a little bit of that.
No, it's cool. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I love the little details. Like the color scheme is Jimmy McGill's suit. It's gold and brown from the beginnings of the inside of the place. It's a lot of gold and brown. Obviously, a gold throne. Basically Saul Goodman's take on Elvis.
Throne, yes.
This is the throne again. It's like it's Saul Goodman's version of Graceland. That's essentially what the house is. The whole house is basically Saul Goodman's version of Graceland. So, anyway, so I love the details of the life lived here where he's like, you go to the closet full of suits. Of course, Saul Goodman's walk-in closet would be magnificent. He has a panic room where he has the bulletproof vest that he hadn't
So, Dragon, that closet is essentially what I want the Saul Goodman gift shop to be.
It'd be wonderful.
Just like picture it, just like buy any color Saul Goodman suit.
Speaking of color, the bathroom is blue and gold. The blue indicating Kim Wexler, the gold indicating Saul Goodman. Again, twin sinks because of all the all the sequences we've done with something something
Sure,
stupid.
sure.
The indoor pool in which we homage, basically our title image here, we homage Sunset Boulevard, in which it has like the successful man floating dead in his pool, ergo Saul Goodman, who's now kind of dead as Gene has like been the escape hatch. With the fact they have an indoor pool, he's reading the time machine, going back in time, perhaps regretful towards the end. The car, we see the lawyer up car being towed. The Beanie Baby bribes, they're being put into a box. Of course, he used in the first season the bribe his way, and with the receptionist. CC Mobile balls. Let's see the Mesa Verde picture, as you pointed out, and of course the big one, the final shot, which just had me in my heart of hearts, pulling all the strings. I was so elated, and like this is the heartbreaking part of the sequence. The Safir Nievo.
That falls out of the fucking Coca-Bolo desk, might I add.
No, Tiki, that's not the Coca-Bolo desk.
It's not the Coca-Bolo, really? I just assumed it was the Coca-Bolo.
No, Tiki, the Coca-Bolo desk is in Saul Goodman's office. That's like just a dresser.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Point being, Kim had it though, and obviously it's the big memento of Kim, the whole slipping Kimmy of it all. It's the biggest one of the biggest symbols of their union and the whole Saul Goodman her relationship. So that thing falling out and just being left there alone on the ground, that's your big mystery of where is Kim in all this.
Yeah, because we know she's not with Gene.
Yep. So again, that's our first indication.
We literally saw Gene go back to his house alone. You know what would be a really cheap move?
What?
Is if Kim was like on a business trip or something through the whole Gene timeline.
It would never work.
Can you imagine though? Can you imagine if she was just with him the whole time?
Would never do that. Okay, the point being, the tequila bottle thing is very huge. This is like this is a big symbolic, like this is our blending of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and Kim Wexler being the key kind of linking point between the two.
Sure.
All right, so and again, like they got millions for that house. So again, like we've teed up the mystery of the season very well, just artfully, and it's beautiful. Okay, and also here's another thing: we're finally doing this now. We've paid off the VHS tape openings.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Now, if you notice, and this was intentional from the beginning, by the way.
I feel like us from like 4 seasons ago would be really stoked about this.
Oh, yeah. Yes, the fact that each season, if you watch, the tape is getting worse and worse. More, warbled and kind of like being baked and everything. So the idea is that, again, 13 episodes after episode 10, which, again, up to 10 episodes is what they've had for all these seasons now. Last 3 episodes probably will not have like the opening because we'll be in the thick of like maybe a 3-part movie of sorts. Who knows?
Endless possibilities. All right.
So sum things up a little bit. So we link up with Nacho, who of course last season, he basically betrayed Lalo. He let Gustavo Fring's mercenaries in there to kill Lalo unsuccessfully, by the way. Nacho's on the run. He's basically, he's been told by Tyrus, I believe, on the phone to, head to, take the battery out of his phone, head to get instructions, which will lead him to a motel where he's going to lie low. But he's got to be careful because it's only a matter of time before the Salamancas and the cartel put 2 and 2 together, and he's in Salamanca country now, folks. Nacho's in the thick of it right now. He is like, this is like Nacho's worst case scenario right now. He is like in the danger he feared he would be in.
So it's wonderful suspense. Dragon, do you remember the conversation that we had with Chris.R. Notarelli, who, by the way, just started production on his feature film? Very excited for him on that front. It's called Random Acts of Violence. Look for it soon, folks. Very excited about that. Anyways, do you recall the conversation that we had with him in regards to, like, TV sometimes having ridiculously low lighting?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, but it's
okay. I'm sorry, Dragon. The nacho stuff, both in this and episode 2, well conceived from a suspense standpoint, for sure. I got to tell you though, it drives me crazy because it really is just like I struggle. Like even in a dark room with the lights out, I was just like, okay, like this is like this is straight up. They are like literally shooting this, so it's difficult to make out.
Yeah, well, that's the point, though. He's like, it's supposed to be tense, and he's running at night, so
I
what do you
don't know.
expect?
I don't like that. I just don't like that as a stylistic choice, and I don't think I ever will.
Well, again, I think I'd argue it's intentional, so I'm going to disagree with you on that anyway.
I know, but Chris R. Notarelli is a real filmmaker, and he agrees with me.
Like that, like Notarelli's not right about everything.
Well, I'm just saying he has experience in the game.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, like that's going to save you. Okay, so
Anyways,
don't drop Notarelli's name like it's a cure-all. It's ridiculous. All right. So, okay, so we check in with Lalo. So Lalo, after he's basically walked off like Frankenstein at the end of last season.
and Dragon, I feel like all the really quick with the nacho stuff. I just want to emphasize, like, as much as I do bitch about like the nighttime stuff and the stuff in the hotel being like really super low lit, and I'm just not a fan of that lighting style.
Which, by the way, most of that's in the second episode anyway. All that.
Sure, we'll get there. But I do think there are some moments that are genuinely like super suspenseful, like the moment where the one farmer turns around and hears Nacho's phone vibrating, and I'm like, oh God, is he gonna look further into it, or is he just gonna go off? And thankfully he goes off. And Dragon, there's one shot in particular that is like on paper literally like the king of mundane things happening, but it was a shot that my dad and I literally both laughed at, because we're like, even like, God damn it, even this show is making a shot like that super suspenseful. We'll get there.
All right, so Lalo is visiting his neighbors after he's kind of walked off from the assassination attempt on him, and basically I get a huge Godfather, or I guess the way we like to say it around here, Godfather Part 2. That's some Godfather, a little Luke Cage reference for the kids. Some Godfather Part 2 vibes here, because I love that, like around, in the Salamanca territory, he is very much like, like De Niro, Vito Corleone, in that he's like Don, he's Don Salamanca, and that there's a conversational respect, and again, Lalo's all about the pleasantry, so it's like young Vito Corleone, like, go man about town, like, oh, we all know Don Corleone, we love this guy. So the idea is like he's done, he got the guy's teeth fixed, he's like they're they're like farmers, and like they have goats and stuff, and he's taking care of these folks. And again, he's like, he was friendly with the people at his compound. Could have been nicer to some people.
I really like this. It's kind of like a realistic sort of, like he's keeping the people that are very, very tight knit within his immediate space happy,
Yeah,
on a strategic level.
And it does pay off here, where he comes in there, they take care of him. They're kind of.
Excuse me, Lalo. Would you like to use me as a body?
Yeah, so I love this guy comes in. I love how Lalo points out, like, you look like ZZ Top with this big old beard.
So this poor guy, man, he was of course the big, like, I love how the teasers played this, where it's like, who the heck is that guy? Is he Lalo's brother? Is he Lalo's father? Is this another
Salamanca? Is it like who? Yeah.
It's like, no, it's exactly what some people theorize, which is just like Lalo's basically just getting this dude to act as a body double.
Yes, but again, just think about how ruthless and monstrous this is. Where again, just the charm of Tony Dalton here, just playing it like very pleasant, very conversational, and he just like very subtly he unscrews the scissors to make a blade into it, and we don't see what happens to that poor woman who again did nothing to him, didn't do him wrong at all. And then we have the guy who's just finished shaving his Lalo, because he's like, hey, we have like the important person here, shave, would you? He says, leave the soul patch and the mustache, would you? He wants to look like Lalo, he wants him to look like himself. And then he just comes up from behind with a smile, and then again we just cut away, and he killed these poor people so he could fake his death and keep Gusfring in the dark. Like, oh my God! And they were so nice, and there was a mutual. These are people that he liked, and he killed them so ruthlessly.
Totally.
And I love that we've really built up. Think about all the menace that we've seen with Lalo. We've only seen him really do, and we still even didn't really see that. All the violence with Lalo up to
Has
this
been off
point.
screen.
I mean, the worst that we saw was when he threw that, I mean, it was the end of last season where he threw the fat into the frying fat into the guy's face, and then he shot the people in the tunnel. But even then, it was like a brutal shooting them on camera or anything. Just that throwing the anytime we've shown it's been really truly horrific. Like, oh
I
my
call
god, he
that the
fried.
Rorschach move.
That's what I'm saying. We did the Rorschach move. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's so far, that's the most violent thing we've seen him do, and that was quite horrific. So I like that we're really building up. Like Lalo again will be the terror in the night for Saul Goodman for a reason when Lalo actually turns it on in person.
Sure,
We've only seen it so sparingly. All right. Speaking of Jimmy, next morning. So Jimmy and Kim, they wake up at their fancy hotel. She's got 20 new clients, which is what happened at the end of last season. She basically, struck a deal to get the really tough,
So, Dragon, you're gonna have to remind me the falling out with Kim and Kevin Wachtel. That was kind of ugly, right?
No, not at all. It wasn't ugly at all. She put Kevin in his place, said like, "Hey, listen, we gave you the best representation you could ever use," and like he was like on good terms with her, saying, "Yeah, you're right." And he based on a whim because Jimmy almost died in the desert. She just gave Mesa Verde to Rich Schweikart, and she just left it.
Right.
So
Okay,
she's on.
now,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, just remind me of the animosity between Kevin and Jimmy. Is it just kind of like a general like respect thing or what?
So someone should have rewatched last season.
I know.
Okay, so what happened is, Jimmy and Kevin Wachtel on the other end. That's on very messy terms because he got his way. If I recall, Mr. Acker, because the assumption was that Mr. Acker got to keep his house as well. So basically, he couldn't build the call center at all.
Oh, right, the
And
Mr. Acker thing. Yeah, okay,
so
got
here's
it.
what. So again,
Yeah,
one, he just really insulted his father, which Kevin Wachtel loves his dad. So
right.
that was one thing. Really,
Yup. Thing. Okay, I got it. It's all
he
coming
did.
back to me.
Okay,
It's
so
all coming back to me.
did that, and the whole.
Yup.
He called Mesa Verde out in the whole like they've been bilking that poor lady that they never gave the copyright to for the Mesa Verde logo, so they had to pay her and couldn't build the call center and all that stuff. So he really, and the fact that is I like Kim Wexler and he's like by proxy of her, so I felt really betrayed by that. But I does not blame Kim Wexler. They did never blame Kim Wexler, it seems though.
Okay.
Anywho. So, point being, Kim's made a clean break. Like, Kim's her own lawyer right now. It's the main thing you need to know, and she's now full on trying to do PD work with free, pro bono work for felony clients, the people really up against it, like doing trials and everything. She's got 20 new clients. She has to borrow Jimmy's suit from season 1, which is very symbolic, like the humble, like the symbol
I
of
love
Jimmy
how
McGill.
everything's coming full circle. I love how Oakley is mentioned in this episode, doing a really prickish thing, by the way.
Oh yeah, oh for sure, yeah. Well, Oakley's just doing his. Oakley doesn't have any malice behind. He's just doing his.
No,
job.
I know, but still, it's still a prickish position to be in.
It is, oh for sure, yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's the type of thing where it's like the moral ramifications of being a lawyer kind of come into play with a case like that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see.
God damn it! I have to defend this snot-nosed brat. All right. Well, they're paying me well, so let's see. Anyways.
All right, so let's see. So they're dipping into the money bag. The 100. Remember the $100K that Jimmy was paid for the bagman's situation, for transporting the $7 million. He was paid 100. He was paid 100K, and he dipped into that for the fancy hotel. And so that money's slowly dwindling. All of it's probably going to go into the office, I'd imagine. But so they have like 100K less than 100K to play with for their scheme right now. So just bear that in mind. So anyway. And remember, if their plan would net them roughly I forget if it's like 22 million or what, but it's going to net them like a lot of a big chunk of change. Anywho, so he pulls out like 100 for the cab. Anyway, so then Kim Wexler trashes the bullet-ridden world's
and this
second
truly
greatest lawyer.
felt like the death of a character, man.
Yes,
You know
this
what
is
it felt like? It felt like at the end of last season, it was one of those cliffhangers where it's like, hold on, world's second best lawyer mug. You might have gotten shot, but you can pull through. They'll pull through into the next season, right?
See, what we're doing is this, honestly, this episode alone, but we've been building to this track where we've been slowly but surely eliminating all the symbols and reminders of Jimmy McGill. Where well,
Totally,
we killed
totally.
off Chuck. That's a biggie. You know, we've the big one last season was we killed the Esteem, the Suzuki Esteem, the
Oh yeah,
iconic
oh
car,
yeah.
which I love, by the way. And let's see. Then, of course, the lawyer mug and the suit. Again, we ditched. He's gone so far beyond the suit, but we literally kind of gave the suit away this episode. And yeah, so the mug. Kim Wexler, ultimately, Kim Wexler is the last symbol of Jimmy McGill. If she goes away in one way or another, that will be ultimately, that's the absolute, like, there's no trace of Jimmy McGill left on this earth.
Sure,
But
sure.
the mug itself was kind of like, that's Kim. The fact that she threw it away speaks volumes, in which that's her accepting Jimmy McGill is no more. I'm in bed with Saul Goodman. That's essentially what that
I
action
mean,
indicates to me.
I honestly think this episode really illuminates. I'm sure we'll get into it, but like Kim Wexler is more or less kind of the mad scientist behind Saul
Yep.
Goodman. It looks like.
I forget if this was ever a thing or not, but I'm gonna try and make it a thing if it's not. She's slowly but surely becoming Sally Goodman.
Oh my God, Sally Goodman. Oh Jesus
Sally
Christ.
Goodman.
Yeah.
I know there's one image. I don't want to spoil for you. There's one image that would definitely be like if you wanted to put them on a poster as Saul and Sally Goodman.
Oh dear God.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. So, we have a callback to the ant. The ants climbing the ice cream from last season, where we're at essentially at the crime scene of the Salamanca complex, where you have like ants crawling on our dead guy had all the fat thrown in his face.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so we transition to the cousins, who are basically the cousins are walking by the crime scene with the very corrupt federales that are under under the thumb of the cartel, paid off by Salamancas.
Okay, the cousin showing up, Dragon, that was the first time in the episode where it's like, oh, we're in the end game now. We're in the end game now.
Oh yeah, because remember, yeah, the cousins were south of the border anyway, so the fact that they would be in the neighborhood and they're not going to
right,
be
right.
released. So they
And
find
Dragon, like the acting, they look like I love how in this episode or in the next couple episodes, really between the cousins and Gus, like we have these characters that like historically have been like just super composed, don't break a sweat, don't show emotion. And like the cousins look pissed, man. It's like they've always looked stoically pissed, but in this scene, they look like visibly emotionally pissed.
Yes, I forget which cousin's which, mind you, because again, they're so.
I know. I wish I knew. I know.
I know. I think I don't know if this
one's definitely a little bit more expressive. One's holding it together a little bit more.
Yeah, I know. I think one of them like Lionel or something. The point being, like, whichever cousin is on the left, essentially the one with without the full goatee, he is the Salamanca. We've always the big North Star with the cousins has always been that awesome. I believe it was the cold open even the flashback.
Cold open to season 2, yeah.
Yes, cold open. Well, what not season 2, Tiki.
Season 3. I'm sorry, you're right. Season 3. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. Regardless, the one after, I believe, literally when they were in the hospital in the aftermath, we flash back to why the one cousin, and the whole, no.
Oh, right.
After 1 minute, the episode after 1 minute, where they're in the hospital and we flash back to their childhood, in which Hector almost killed one of them to prove them, so basically reinforce the Salamanca credo, which is family is everything. In which, yeah, you want your brother dead? Well, I'm gonna kill him for you. That whole thing, the very sadistic lesson that reinforces the whole Salamanca DNA. And again, they were upset with Tuca. They tried to kill Walter White. So at any time a Salamanca bloodline gets killed, they're going to be very upset by this. This is the first time we've ever seen it at Ground Zero like this. So yeah, that's why he's getting so upset. Like he's just kind of gobsmacked. Like Lalo, no, and he puts his old shark skin coat over him. Your jacket over them, and they put then again ceremonial, which we haven't done since the death of so they were praying to kill Walter White. They put a little ceremonial Dios de los Muertos sort of thing, or we have like a little That they're essentially they're praying to the the patron god of death, essentially.
Yes.
The Grim Reaper little tarot card thing. And they're walking off. It's like, okay, we're mad. Lalo's dead. But the idea is they're reporting back that Lalo's been found dead. That's essentially what's happening there.
All right. So meanwhile, Gus Fring's gonna get to do some acting.
Okay, this is a big thing though, Tiki. For the first thing, because remember they destroyed the set, so they had to reconstruct this to a degree. And we still didn't see the full area yet because they still don't have the set. We're at the chicken farm because they have not shown the chicken farm in Better Call Saul yet. This is the first time we've gone officially to the chicken farm. But we're inside.
It looks just out of season 3.
Yeah, remember we're the way they got away with it is because we're inside the trailer right now, so we can easily get away with it. So Gus gets a call.
This is where the big half measures confrontation happened, right?
Yeah. It's like
that's what I thought. Yeah,
or like probably the episode before. No, you're right. Half measures, half measures and full measures when we go to a different location. You're right. Sorry. Okay, so we're at the farm. Gus gets Bolsa calls about the big Lalo news. Essentially, Eladio knows that it was Varga, that Varga's the rat, that he betrayed him. And again, folks, the moment I heard, okay, Bolsa is like completely just said that, okay, Nacho, they know it's Nacho. Nacho is in so much danger. Like if there was like a little scale, little indicator, like the knob would have broken off. The little arrow would have broken off right now. It's cracked. Like, oh my God. Nacho could not be in any more danger right now because Eladio's put a price on his head. People in Mexico are looking for him. And this is danger for Gus too, because this basically Nacho is so screwed because Varga is a loose end. He is the only thing they want to get Nacho alive, so he will say who he ratted for.
Yeah, so basically they can torture that information out of him. Yeah,
which basically would expose Gus Fring. And folks, this kind of spells doom for Nacho, as far as I'm concerned, because Nacho is either going to get away or he's going to get killed. And it's the fact that because we know Gus Fring's going to get out of this scot-free, so that kind of spells doom for Nacho to me. It's the fact that again, if Nacho,
the fact that like Nacho as a loose end would probably be more valuable to Gus dead than alive.
Exactly, that's
like under any circumstance.
I mean, I'm convinced the plot, like Tyrus's whole thing on the phone with Nacho, like Nacho going to that motel, is that it's Tyrus giving him false hope that. Just stay there so they'll find you and kill you. I think that's essentially what he's saying.
Pretty much, yeah.
That or more accurately, because they know they're going to take him alive. Wait there so we can send our guys to kill you.
Right.
Yeah, that's essentially, yeah. Anywho, so basically, Gus is looped into, okay, so seemingly Lalo is dead, and there's like a cartel war. There's a lot of trouble brewing, and Varga's the loose end. So Mike enters. So Gus Fring, he's smart. I love this. And this is such great writing to me. Gus Fring questions, how is it the mercenary who reported job well done is dead?
Yeah, Gus is just like so on top of it. He's so in character. He's like honestly, Dragon, I really feel like just the couple episodes we've gotten of Gus, he might be at the top of his game. I mean, obviously he's he's in a really bad position right now, but I'm saying just as far as like the character goes, like I am very compelled by what he's doing right now. Like he's juggling a lot of different scenarios.
Because remember, even though Gus is so calm, cool, and collected right now, Gus is really on his heels at this point in time. Like the idea is
we have the broken glass scene in episode 2, which is pretty much the first time that we ever really see the character like have an emotional slip up. So we'll get there. We'll get to that.
Ever since Lalo has entered the picture, Gus has been on his heels, just frustrated with Lalo Salamanca. That's saying something. The fact that there's been someone, a Salamanca even, that has really gotten under Gus Fring's skin and really interrupted his operations like this. That's really saying something.
Sure.
And again, it's like that ultimately this story, like to make it worthwhile, like, okay, why do we have Gus Fring in this show outside of like, oh, we loved him in Breaking Bad and we just want more of him as well. Okay, we're seeing the rise of Saul Goodman. We should see the rise of Gus Fring to the power that he had in Breaking Bad. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, anyway, so by the way, just because we don't want to glaze over it, so Mike Ehrmantraut enters. We open the door, he turns around, it's like an audience cheer mode.
I mean, basically, Dragon, every character entrance this episode is like that.
Of course, folks, we love Mike. Put it on a t-shirt.
We love Mike.
Just we love Mike. We
We
adore
didn't
not only
really
Jonathan.
think of a visual way to showcase it this season.
Well, we didn't do it last season. I figured we wouldn't do it this season.
Right. But we love Mike.
We do. We love this man. Seriously, we adore Jonathan Banks, everything about the man, more so as the enduring character that he brought to life, that again be one to be remembered for in the best of ways. So, dear God, Mike Armitrud, a lot of love. Okay.
Oh
What to
God, you know
indicate
what would
that?
be a ridiculous way to do the We Heart Mike thing?
What?
The flower petals.
Oh God.
Mike loves me like Mike loves me not. Mike loves me. Mike loves me not.
I don't think that really tracks with what we're going for. I don't think we're gonna.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So let's see. So again, Gus is asking the question here. Mike's saying, "Well, I mean, it is known to happen. Technically, and people do it, and they kind of die like a samurai. I mean, it's literally how Mike died. By the way, it's like essentially, like he did a thing and then he died.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. So Mike wants to bring Nacho home and cut him loose. That's what he wants to do ever since he learned that Gus Fring's essentially been holding his father at gunpoint for him to do what he says, which he does not believe that fear to be an effective motivator. Because of that, he's been really on the fence with that, and Gus is has not given in to Mike's demand on that yet, and he still isn't. And Mike's making the point of like again the old school way that Mike thinks. Loyalty goes both ways. And he played a tough game, but he played it on the square. He deserves your respect. And of course, Gus says, well, he does have my respect. That doesn't mean I'm going to let him live. He doesn't say that, but he's basically intimating that. Again, the suggestion to me, they're not saying in the episode, I think Gus is trying to send people down there to kill him. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I like that a lot is being conveyed through very little dialogue here. And Mike and Gus are both really picking up on the tension between each other when they're really not coming to blows at all, even through words. It's all very polite, but there's so much tension.
But in the next episode, let's just say the tension is gonna crack a little bit, but we'll get there. Like that glass, it's gonna break. All right. So anyway, so let's see. So we're at so Jimmy and Kim are at the courthouse. I tell you, man, this is so darn cute to me. They both go to work at the same place, and she's at the courthouse, and he's doing his own thing at the courthouse, and there's these two crazy kids, and what could possibly go wrong? Anyway, so Saul Goodman.
It's not like he could slip up and say a name that could probably put him in a lot of trouble or anything.
Pshaw. So Saul Goodman, how great! Oh, this was so great. So Saul Goodman answers to Detective Roberts. Remember, this is the detective that got Hank Schrader on the Gus Fring trail.
Yeah.
So Saul Goodman answers to Detective Roberts and ADA Khalil, who basically were on the whole Luis de Guzman, the whole de Guzman, Jorge. Sorry, not Luis. Luis. I'm thinking of the guy from VH1. Sorry, Jorge de Guzman. The whole Jorge de Guzman kind of like $7 million bail thing.
Uh-huh.
So I love that Jimmy makes like the brunch joke of like, hey, let's 10 a.m. tomorrow. You want to do brunch? Well, this is a big guy here. Might get a little be a third wheel. So basically, they've looked into de Guzman and they basically uncovered. And this is what Saul Goodman kind of feared is like, okay, well, at some point, if he doesn't get out of town, which again, as far as he was concerned, he hopped the border already. The cover might not hold for long. And again, basically he had like almost like a shell game of sorts of like, okay, so if they look into like the family and everything, they're going to find basically kind of like he lives at a Dairy Queen and like the residents are like 70 plus if you're going to look up the names that were chosen for these people. So they'll never be able to find them again. So they found that. So he's been found out essentially. And, they demand to meet in chambers with the judge to renegotiate bail terms and everything versus like the 6-week window that he's prepared for.
Yeah, but Saul argues that, he put up $7 million to the bail, so why would he just walk away from that? Basically he's just trying to divert the thing and buy him some time.
Exactly. And the idea is he would just ultimately, I think at the end, he's just going to shrug his shoulders. Well, he ran away. What can I tell you? You got a $7 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's just call it an even break. So anyway, so he basically calls him out. He redirects the hubris at them, calls him out. Look, you lost. You want a do-over. I get it. But don't try and redirect this on me. Don't try to dress me up like you're doing this the right way by putting me in front of a judge and everything. And don't try and blow this back on me, or else I'll throw prosecutorial misconduct your way. because you would call your pants down. Again, you had all like a dozen lawyers and investigators, and it's not my fault. You can't keep track of Lalo, which
Oh boy.
when I heard that, I was like,
I was just like, oh, Jimmy. Oh,
Jimmy,
no.
no,
What'd you
no,
do, Jimmy? What'd you do?
oh. So he plays it off the best way he could, but it's like, oh, it's the damn, like the fact that she says,
Okay,
wait,
Dragon, you know our little telltale joke of like, she will remember this?
yeah, ADA Khalil will remember that.
Yeah, that like flash in red. She will remember this. She will remember this.
Now, in all seriousness, seriously, if they just, I think he saved it the best he could, but again, the fact that she said, who's Lalo?
Yeah, no, this is gonna come back to bite him in the ass. There's no way it doesn't.
The fact is, if they ever get an ID, if they hear the name Lalo in any other case, then they'll know.
Yeah.
So any other case, which of course Lalo coming back at some point is sure to stir up some trouble. So if his name is dropped, even by somebody that Jimmy, because we know Jimmy's going to be working with people who know about the Salmongas, if they just say the name Lalo in any way, shape, or form, there's going to be a lot of trouble.
So I love how Dragon. I'm kind of gonna throw something out here as far as the symbolism goes. Saul goes into the courtroom and he kind of like takes a moment to himself. He's alone in the courtroom. It almost looks like a church-like setting.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of feel like that's almost like a a visual symbol, like kind of like a precursor to kind of like building up to the conversation about like the cathedral of law.
Little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I concur with that. Yeah, I think that's on the money. So, anyways, the point being, he has 6 weeks until he has to see these people again, unless something really, really detrimental happens, and he spins it off as, I have someone I call.
Yeah, it's not like Lalo's coming back to seek revenge or anything. He'll be fine.
Yep. All right, so we're at the El Camino dining room.
Yep.
So we got a fun little reference El Camino. By the way, Nacho's kind of on his own El Camino journey right now. It's kind of funny.
Vince Gilligan's just on the side, like ribbing us in the shoulder, like, hey, remember El Camino?
Yeah, he's got like a little plate of food on one arm. Hey. Yeah, El Camino, right? Huh?
All right.
Anyway, so I love this. So
that was the movie. That was the name of the movie. All right.
Anyway, so again, so walking through the door of the El Camino dining room is Kim's client, who's wearing the Saul Goodman, who's wearing the Jimmy McGill suit from the classic brown Jimmy McGill suit, symbolic of him crossing paths with his former self, who's walking.
Oh yeah.
Saying,
I love how as he's opening the door for the kid, he's like, nice threads. And the kid's just like, thanks, mister.
Yeah, and by the way, I like that we hear, the kid was a nice kid, so again, very representative of who Jimmy was.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, nice kid landed himself in trouble. All right.
Okay, so this scene is just like, my God, it is like the yin and yang of Kim Wexler in one fell swoop.
Yeah, absolutely. So on one hand, we have the good kid, we have just classic Kim Wexler before we have Slippin' Kimmy or Sally Goodman, or whatever you want to kind of label the other half. She basically lays out what her whole like pro bono thing is all about here. This is it. She's helping the felony cases. This is a good kid. I'm sorry. Do you want to lead him through it, or should I?
The basically Dragon. I almost kind of take this whole thing as like, especially on a rewatch, I almost think it's going to be foreshadowing of like the path that Kim is going to lead Jimmy down. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you the big. Do you mean with old Saul Goodman nods, or I was meaning?
No. I mean, what the story that she tells.
Yeah. Well, the story that she tells is, it's. Sorry,
I'm just saying, as far as kind of like leading Saul in to do something that's like all in illegal, and then kind of passing the buck of blame onto him.
Not sure.
Because I'm throwing out there, I'm still not convinced that Kim isn't pulling a long con on Jimmy.
I don't know. Okay, phrase like that, I think I get it now. No, I don't think she's running a con on him. I don't think so.
Okay. I'm just saying. I think in this episode we clearly see a divide of her clearly being the one to want to push the iconic Saul Goodman stuff.
I have
a little bit resistant.
I have my own theory about that scene. We'll get to it in a minute. All right, I got my own theory.
Okay.
But just laying out what. So she basically goes on about this. This is a good kid who was basically driving his rich friend's Mustang, going to a liquor store. The kid basically the rich punk kid robs it with a Bowie knife, which of course a little Tuco reference. Just the Bowie knives in general. And basically, the kid got the PD lawyer, which didn't do him any justice, and then the rich punk got like a top dollar defense attorney who basically is basically trying to hoist it all onto the poor kid who did not know that his friend was going to rob the place. Just really, it's the rich get richer kind of thing, real scummy thing to do. And as you said, Oakley's got the case, and it's basically he's not pleading him out or anything, at least not pleading him out well. So again, Kim Wexler helping the innocent, Saul Goodman not so much with Lalo, but she loves it. She loves what she's doing. I think there's some genuineness in
I think one of the most genuine Kim Wexler moments ever in the whole show is when she's like, "It's one of the best days I've had. It was one of the best days of my life, professionally speaking."
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's
like that is like Dragon. That is like blue meth Kim Wexler right there.
That's what I'm saying. So on one hand, you have that. So anyway, so Saul Goodman. So then she's getting into the whole like kind of the woman pulling the strings behind Saul Goodman here, where she basically says, she points out that I think Saul Goodman needs a better car than a brown Ford Taurus rental car. So Kim's suggesting like an American-made car with flair, which of course, basically the idea she's
like name dropping Saul Goodman all over the place, like. Honestly, Dre, in this moment, I truly think she is more all in on the Saul Goodman branding than he is.
And what we're saying here, Tiki, essentially what we established in this episode is she's behind the opulence and the pizzazz, like the visual with the exception of the suits, because that's all Jimmy.
Sure.
She's building the brand of Saul Goodman, like The Office.
We know she's like kind of jumping ahead to episode 2 just for like a little plant a flag. We know she's gonna somehow get that fucking blow up Statue of Liberty. We know that's gonna be her doing.
But still, it's the fact that she's throwing like, okay, you should build a brand out of the kind of the opulence of Saul Goodman, like the overly Americana kind of opulence.
Sure.
Like, give him a big old car, and his office should be. And of course, she goes back to the office because she knows that's what Jimmy's all about, the office and the real estate and the office they've been chasing for many seasons with the Wexler McGill of it all. The Cathedral of Justice.
Oh yeah,
and they're gonna go office shopping Saturday. It's adorable.
Mark it down, folks.
All right, so Kim brings up the Hamlin Con. Now remember, she brought this up in the finale last season, and
this was basically kind of like a mirror of the season 4 finale, where Saul was just going all in on the Saul Goodman thing and left her kind of speechless.
Exactly. So the idea. Here's my read on this whole thing. So again, the Hamlin Con, which I think ultimately will be like the masterpiece of the slipping Kimmy cons, slipping Jimmy and Kim Wexler cons.
It's very clever. I'm going to say right off the top, and I think the fact that we love Howard Hamlin so much definitely plays into this.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think this con is like objectively kind of evil.
I know, that's the thing. Well, now what's interesting, I think what's going to happen with that is that right now, the way it's being proposed sounds like they're trying not to hurt him too bad. They're just basically kind of using kind of his own tactic against him, which I'll get into once we get to like.
But I don't know though, man. I don't know about how much they're all in on not hurting him. I mean, I don't know. We'll get there. We'll get there when we get to the country club scene.
What I'm saying is, I think ultimately there's going to be a turn where it's going to be a moment where it's like we're going to bring up the moment of like, how far do we go with this? And they're going to put the pedal to the metal on it. That's what I think's going to. I think it's right now. It's going to be like we're playing it a little soft, then it's going to go full on.
I got to tell you, man. As soon as the baggie of drugs got involved, I got that sick pit in my stomach feeling that I got when I first saw Confessions. I was just like, oh God, our characters are doing something that's just objectively just wrong.
All right, so Okay, so ultimately, I'm thinking Jimmy is worried because Kim Wexler's integrity is the last shred of Jimmy McGill left.
Uh-huh.
Like the thing we just saw about her like glowing about like the best day of her professional career, that whole thing. So and again, like she's suggesting that we use Cliff Main to get to Howard, which is a really crafty thing. And so the conflict is Saul Goodman absolutely wants this, and he's attracted to this, but he knows that there's no going back, which ultimately this con will literally lead to the office and everything, which will be Breaking Bad. So essentially, all of our this con is going to be like the no going back turning point for okay, we're pushing into Breaking Bad, and
Yeah.
this like Jimmy McGill's complete remnant and everything. That's going to be perhaps the death of Kim Wexler's soul, if not her herself. I don't know. And here's my theory on Kim Wexler's character wise here. So I laid this out last season. I think it's kind of been confirmed here. At least this is what I'm thinking. Kim Wexler as a character, the reason she's going along and going so far into kind of the Sally Goodman camp is to avoid losing the connection to family, like she presumably did with her mother when we saw that cold open last season. Her mother was like, essentially, her mother was slipping Jimmy. It was very much kind of like like going like leaving in the middle of the night like before paying the check. It was very much like like him like kind of trying to con her as a little girl, which she never appreciated. And Kim Wexler was very morally upstanding, and because of that, her mother says, "You know what? It's like you never give anyone a chance," or something like that. Essentially, is what she said, and I think that
Uh-huh.
stuck with Kim. And I think that's why she's always been with Jimmy through thick and thin, and that's why she's doubled down in season 2. Like when they kind of went forward in their relationship, she basically progressively as the series has gone on, she's been overcompensating so she will never be alone again. Like she distanced herself from her mother.
Yeah, I
Like
could see that.
that's what I think. And again, even if ultimately she'll go so far, even if it ultimately kills her integrity in the process. So that's kind of my read on possibly where we're going with Kim Wexler and why she's doing the things she's doing. And I think she is genuine, but I think she's losing sight of things because she's getting so wrapped up and we're moving so forward. We're married and everything. This means something. We can build a life together, but she's not really seeing the cost of all this.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, so then Jimmy again he plays into it. Oh, what's the harm in listening? Why don't you lay out what you're thinking? So, oh boy, Saul Goodman. Okay. Meanwhile, Nacho arrives at the Octilio Motel, I believe it is.
Yeah, it's
Octilio.
it's a very, very divey hotel for sure.
He goes to the Octilio Motel where basically there's a room waiting for him. He finds guns and money in an envelope. And again, as I said before, assumingly plan is for Nacho to be the fall guy, and he's just going to be stay there until someone ideally
He's
will.
literally just going to be murdered, just slaughtered.
Yep.
Do you think now? Remind me, in episode 2, do we see the gun get used? Like, are there bullets in the gun?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you think that's kind of weird that they even give him a gun? Is it just to give him a false sense of security? Do they know
I
that he?
absolutely. I think it's trust. I think it's to show them. It's to make. It is the false insecurity of like, yeah,
Uh,
you're complete. Like
so
we
it's like
want to
they
get
know
you
that
out.
if they come in like a group of mercenaries to kill him, one gun's not going to stop a group of mercenaries.
Yeah. Now again, now mind you, I'm assuming they're going to kill him because that's what makes sense with the loose end aspect. Well, we
Uh,
know that Eladia wants to bring him in alive. We know that. Even the cousins want to bring him in alive for that reason. So I'm assumingly, I think the only thing that makes sense is that Gus Fring wants to kill him. So yeah, I'm thinking it's either like so he can protect himself from these Salamancas if it comes to it, but primarily it's yeah, just to give him a false sense of security so he won't see it coming.
sure, sure.
All right, anyway, so and again he's warned by Tyrus the people are coming for you, so you got to lie low. Meanwhile, Grandpa Mike time. Mike and Kaylee, they're playing with marbles and like this Rube
Okay, I
Goldberg
don't
kind
know
of
about
like
you, but as a kid, I used to love these marble things.
I don't think I had one of these, but they look awesome.
I don't know if I ever had one. I know for a fact that I would go to a toy store and play with one all the damn time.
Hmm, cool. All right, so anyway, they're kind of playing around. Kaylee wants some lemonade, which kind of brings Mike away to have like a big moment here, where again Mike's been Nacho's advocate here, but he kind of makes a call. Like he makes a decision here. So Nacho is calling, which by
Here's
the
the
way,
shot I was talking about, Dragon. It's
what,
literally just the lemonade on the fucking table.
yeah.
I'm just like, Dragon, my dad and I literally started cracking up because it's just like, oh my God, they're shooting this in a way where even a fucking glass of lemonade is terrifying. Seriously, though, because it's like you've got the threat of Haley in the room, and I don't know. It's like this whole episode just has such a heightened level of tension to it, Dragon.
So Nacho is calling Mike because he's the only guy he has in his corner that he can trust. Like, he's trying to get answers and like what to do with the situation. He's not sure if he can trust Ring because all he knows is he can trust Mike, and Mike's not answering the phone because he knows things are tense with Ring. But more accurately,
And especially after the Warner situation, it is killing Mike. This whole thing is just like morally killing him.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, my read on the scene was that ultimately Mike is prioritizing his family over the business or the
Sure,
business side of things. We're like, look, I'm sympathetic towards Varga, but ultimately I'm picking my family over him in any way you slice. I'm never picking him over my family. That's the way it is. I'll do what I can for him, but ultimately I'm not supposed to get involved. I'm just gonna play with my granddaughter.
But then once again with the freaking like totally mundane, adorable granddaughter stuff, she's counting down the marbles, and Dragon Jonathan Banks just looks so fucking distraught.
Oh yeah. Oh, by the way, so Tiki, so what would have been like had Mike called Nacho? I wonder what the other end of that phone might sound like. Let's go to the phones,
hold on. Let me. I don't know, Dragon. What would that be like?
Well, let's see if Nacho's going to pick up. Let's dial 505
505
242
242
6087.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
It's ringing.
Nacho, leave
it. Get out of there, Nacho! Run! Okay, so we know. Okay, anyways.
I got to admit that was kind of like because it went on for so long. I was like, oh God, is this a real phone number? All right. Anyways.
Okay. That was fun. All right, so getting back to our plan. So we enact phase 1 of the HHM Con. So Saul Goodman. Sorry. So Saul Goodman. By the way, just Jimmy looking really dapper in the all black. By the way, kind of the casual wear when he went to the. I've always loved his wardrobe, and his wardrobe's been so.
He's in the all black because he's got to sell the kind of like quote unquote somber shit that he's going to be accusing them of.
Maybe. At the very least,
no
I think
flashes of color this time, man. I want them to think I'm on my way to a funeral.
I mean, I think ultimately, I think he's basically trying to sell legitimacy. So maybe it is
right.
Now, here's the question I have for you. Okay, I'm not sure how I read on this because do you think they're planning because they know Kevin Wachtel golfs. They know he golfs. I don't know if they know he golfs here. I mean, I don't know if it's the same place that we saw that one time. I don't know if it's just one specific country club that all of our guys go to here. But do you think they plan on Kim Wachtel being
there? That's a good question. I think I gotta say yes because I think the what Jimmy pulls is so rehearsed.
I don't know. Part of me feels like it was just really because he's getting a tour. He needs to get inside the place. So the tour is going to get him there one way or another. I'm thinking. I mean that's a thing though. You don't know. Is this really well improvised or is it just like they're planning on? They know Wachtel golfs. They know he golfs, and Kim has been to a country club with him. I don't know if it's the same one.
Maybe they had a backup plan, like maybe they had contingencies in place.
Well, that's the thing. It's just that either way it works. It's just I just like that. I kind of like that we don't know, but it's interesting. Anyway, so ideas.
Well, what I like about all of this Jimmy and Kim stuff is that, like, until the plan fully gets revealed, it's like to a certain degree we don't actually know what is intentional and what is not.
Yeah, all we know is they have 45 minutes while Howard and Cliff are like on the golf course, getting to presumably the ninth hole, assuming they don't play a full game. Which again, a lot of these the cushy kind of country club guys, they don't play the full 18 because they're lazy. They just like to hang out at the club. So, anyway, so basically, Jimmy is getting a Norm is getting a tour by the very friendly Norm Wakely, Mr. Norm Wakely, giving a pleasant tour, saying, "Oh, hello, Mr. Goodman. Can I get you to try our
Okay,
coffee?"
can I just say, like, these guys are like legitimately like they are total like wasp just like the most like upper crust people. But this guy, you're right. He's laying out the red carpet for Jimmy, man. As Jimmy
Yeah.
says, it's like, it's like when they're looking for new members, it's like they do go out of their way to make you feel welcome.
That's the thing. If golf were just more like scaled down, like putt putt, I might see myself joining
I know, right?
country club. Like the only way I'd ever join a country club, it was just very scaled down and less elitist. It was just like it's putt putt, and yeah, we have pizza. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. Like there doesn't have to be pizza.
Your average family fun center.
But you know what I mean. But it'd be nice. I'm just saying it would be as nice as a country club, but just scaled down and humble. That's all.
We'd have like the whole the oven fire pizza.
Yeah, like yeah. You'd have like again, I'm just throwing out pizzas like something, like that or hot dogs or whatever. So you'd have so like make your own Sunday bar, that's easy. I don't know. Anyway, point being, so basically Jimmy's getting the pleasant tour, it seems. Then he is this is interrupted by Kevin Wachtel is kind of calling the guy over and basically probably saying something along the lines of, "Hey, I will cancel my membership and tell my buddies to leave here if you let this man in." So basically, they put him on kind of an exclusion list, which is absolutely essentially what happens here. Of like, no, we're not going to let this guy in. And then he has like the really lame excuse of all of a sudden, like he's literally about to go on the tour.
Oh wait, I forgot. Our wait list is 2 years long. Sorry.
And well, can I get a tour just in case? So, we've suspended tours, that's the utter BS of it all. You were just about to give me a tour,
right?
So then again,
Jimmy puts on one of his like all-time great comedic riffs, I think.
Okay, do you remember Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Of course I remember Funkhauser.
I have to make sure with you. So So Bob Einstein, who unfortunately passed away, I love that when Jimmy gets really worked up. I don't know if it's Bob Odenkirk, maybe, because you might have known him because Super Dave, Bob Einstein, was known in the comedy world by many people, and Odenkirk does do impressions sometimes. I wonder if he might be doing a little homage to Bob Einstein because when he gets hoity-toity and gets upset, he sounds like Bob Einstein. That was his whole thing.
Bit, yeah.
Einstein's whole thing is that he got really ticked off at people, but he had like a great poker face, so he's like really straightforward, like I am so upset right now, like that sort of thing. So I like that he kind of sounds a little bit. Anyway, the point being, he based Saul Goodman. This is hilarious. Remember in Breaking Bad, the very first time Walt met Saul Goodman is like Saul McGill. Like he looks at the poem, McGill. It's like no, I put on Goodman for the homeboys. They love that. They love the flair. They like to think that he's Jewish, essentially. So I love that they put that full circle here, where it's just doubled down on Goodman. The minute you heard Goodman,
oh my god, it's so good. Just like the whole the victim mentality just snowballs with every line he says.
Basically spinning it as anti-Semitism at its best.
Oh my god.
So Kevin Wachtel begins to get irate and he basically clarifies like, no, it's not that. Just Wachtel's not doing himself any favors in the fact that he does not like Saul Goodman at all. And he basically Jimmy spins the personal attack into proof and look at how that's it, money grubbing. You heard it. You said the quiet part out loud, Kevin. 5,000 years, it never ends. And then Kevin's about to beat him up. But I love this. They did this last season where he's in that parking garage. You get the sense that Jimmy's just waiting for him to hit him so he can
here it is.
Millions.
Violence. It always comes to this. I love that Jimmy is painting the picture of himself as just this like totally just like victimized Jew who's just like goes through life just totally getting discriminated against.
I love it so. I was laughing so hard. It's like I was just playing it up. It's so
Oh my
funny.
god.
So this is the part where it really sounds like Bob Einstein. If you ever watch folks, if you ever watch Curb Enthusiasm, just tell me if Jimmy doesn't sound, if Saul Goodman doesn't sound like Bob Einstein when he says like, "I wouldn't be a member here."
It does,
I've never
that moment does sound very Bob Einstein-esque. Yeah, I can see it.
says, "I'll never walk through these doors
Oh my
again."
god.
Do you? And then he goes on to this. Sounds even more like, do you have at least a bathroom I could use? Because this whole thing, it's the stress. It's stressing my diverticulitis. Essentially, is the the whole GERD thing.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, the IBS thing. Sorry. So this is like yes, of course, and I love this. I don't blame you. You were just following orders, which to me that's the funniest. That's the funniest line. This is the whole thing. Just like it's the whole Nazism thing. Like you were just following orders. Don't worry, folks. Crisis averted. I'm leaving. All right. So long story short, he clogs the toilet so he can find Howard's locker number, and but then big problem. Howard and Cliff Maine, they're coming back early, so Kim sends an abort text while she's like chewing gum. And I love how Kim's just really into the spy mode here. She's with the binoculars and chewing the gum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so what's Jimmy McGill? What's Saul Goodman to do?
It's a great move, Dragon. He literally just strips naked, grabs a towel, and throws the towel up over his head to cover his face.
It's basically the old locker room mentality of
slick. It's such a slick move.
Because no one wants to talk to the naked guy in the locker room.
Of course, yeah.
So he basically in the time there, basically he had to improvise because he had no escape plan, which is what he did there. So what he had time to do real quick was open the lock and plant something in Howard's locker, which appears to be cocaine. Now, this is the thing. This is the question of if it's a half measure or if it's just them being really smart. I guess you can make the call yourself here. Where remember, it's not actually cocaine; it's just baby powder. But it achieves exactly what they need him to do. So here's the thing: if anyone ever wants to say, like Saul, Jimmy McGill, you placed cocaine in this man's life. No, I didn't, Your Honor. I put baby powder in a little baggie in his locker.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's a little insulated. That's what makes me think perhaps they're trying not to. I don't know if it's just them being really smart or just them maybe not. We're not going to put actual cocaine in Howard's locker. Like how softening this are they?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point.
Again, it could be either or though. It could just still them being going full tilt with them, but they're just like insulating.
But
themselves.
I mean, the important thing is that to go back around to the telltale of it all, Cliff will remember this.
You know me, I love Ed Begley Jr. And I love how we're using him here. And it's like, oh god, Cliff Maine is kind of the linchpin this season for how we bring down Howard Hamlin. This is great.
Yeah.
And basically, so like Cliff, and I love you can read on his face, like, oh good. So Cliff has seen Howard Hamlin playing it, and ultimately, Tiki, I think the genius thematic thing in this plot is they're using the critical eye that, namely Chuck in the past, but just in general, the high society of lawyers, the critical eye that was always used against Jimmy McGill in the past seasons is being used on Hamlin. That it's just kind of really, it's kind of like karmic in a way, like you've always looked down on, like, it's always like little implications, like, American Samoa, please, you're chimp with a machine gun. Well, looking down on him, like, yeah, I'm gonna make you look down on Howard Hamlin now.
Sure.
And of course, I just love Begley Jr. It's not the first time I've seen one of those, unfortunately. It's like it's just so much legitimacy that Ed Begley Jr. sweats legitimacy.
Like Ed Begley Jr. in this scene, he's trying so hard to be like neutral to the situation, but he knows he's sketched out. There's a lot of layers to what's going on in this one moment.
And that's the
thing, it's like he doesn't want to believe it, but in the back of his mind, it's like, well, it fell out of your locker, Howard.
And I love that Jimmy, again, has been around and he knows how the human brain works, is how the cynical human brain works. And I love that he knows that, like, I know from personal experience, people aren't going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Like the whole Chicago sunroof thing. People aren't going to care about, like, the intimacies that got you there. The fact is you got there. And it looks to be what it is. And the fact he's just using that philosophy. It's kind of he's kind of using that.
Dragon, Jimmy and Kim are basically pulling an Inception.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which I love.
Oh, yeah. So again, the ultimate con. All right.
Yeah.
So Jimmy from the car, Jimmy with the binoculars, he watches Cliff's reaction from the car with Kim, and Kim's wondering, like, were we too subtle? And he looks at him and he sees like the lingering.
Not too subtle. It was perfect.
Yep, the seeds had been planted, the doubt and the concern over Hamlin, and next episode they're just going to push it a little further.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, Lalo. So Lalo's about to sneak across the border with a group of immigrants in like the back of like a hay ride thing. And by the way, this is a fun little it's a fun little throwback to Bryan. I believe the first episode Bryan Cranston directed in season 3, which introduced the cousins. Remember, like they set the.
Oh yeah, totally. They were in one of those for sure. Yeah.
So, anyway, so he tells these kind of real prickish guys, these real prickish tough guys who are like,
be nice,
people. Hey, be nice, man. And give me a minute.
I love the be nice thing, man. It's such a Salamanca thing.
Yeah, but not. There's like it's a Lalo thing. The Salamancas are not about pleasantries. Only he is.
I don't know, man. I get a little bit of oh God, why am I blanking on his name? Why can I think of Tuco? Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, really, Tuco.
With the be nice thing, I don't know.
I don't know if I get Tuco from that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I mean, you're right.
Tuco. The actor's name before the character.
You were thinking of Raymond Cruz, weren't you?
Yeah, I was thinking Raymond Cruz. Anyways.
Okay, point being, I mean, look, Tuco did offer pleasantries like tacos. So, I mean, you're right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
There were some pleasantries, but still, Bowie knife, and he was, like he killed a man for interrupting him. So, anyway. Anyway. So, the point is, Lalo interrupts, basically, this is like, give me a minute. He calls Hector basically to tell his uncle that he's alive. And I love how, seriously, acting on Mark Margolis here. He's going full on like what he was doing in Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah, totally.
He's very much, he's very infirm, but he's emoting so much. And like,
my dad and I both had like a really big reaction the first time we heard the bell.
Yeah. So again, I love how challenging this sequence is, where he's having a conversation on the phone with Hector, who's like in a retirement home, but he can only communicate with a bell. And
he has to spell out a 5-letter word, and you can imagine it's a pretty arduous process.
Oh yeah, for sure. So again, basically Lalo tells him that he knows it was Gus, and he's coming to get revenge. He's like, screw Bolsa, screw Eladio, I'm gonna kill Gus Fring, essentially. And always like telling the nurse, oh yeah, I'm telling him some good news, some bad news. Please put him back on the phone.
I love that, because it's like it's literally true.
Here's the thing with Lalo I love every time he does this sort of thing. He did this all the time in the nursing home last season, where he when he shows up. Sorry, when he shows up and he's interrupted by like the nurses or something, and he just has like that cadence in his voice where it's like he is being pleasant, but there's also just that layer of don't tick me off.
Yeah, totally.
Just a little bit of that. All right, so again, he's back on the phone with Hector, and let's see. So basically, so Hector spells like Tio. Do you have another idea? And he does. And he spells out the translation being proof. It says proof. Basically, so Hector's saying expose Gus, which is Gus Fring's worst nightmare. Gus Fring's worst nightmare fundamentally is to be thrown back to the day Max was killed, which essentially is basically being completely and utterly vulnerable to the cartel, like having your neck like looking down at Max by the pool. He never wants to be that again.
Uh-huh.
So that's essentially like, no, don't kill the chicken man. Prove that he lied. Prove that it was him. And now, again, they don't spell this out, but I'm assuming that the proof is Nacho, which, again, is what everyone else is going for. So I'm thinking here's my prediction, Tiki. I'm sure Nacho is not going to pan out for Lalo. What that's going to lead to is Plan B, which is Plan Saul Goodman.
Oh man, yeah.
Who else would remember who brought Saul Goodman to Lalo? It was Nacho. So there's your link. If I can't get Nacho, the only other person that knows Nacho, Saul Goodman.
Of course.
All right. Which again would explain why Saul Goodman is so terrified of Lalo.
All right.
Okay,
So
so
then,
Lalo. Yeah, go on.
so Lalo, he's trying to be reasonable with these guys. He's like, yeah, I decided I'm not going to come. I'd like my money back. And they're just like, nah, don't be stupid. We're not going to give you your money back. No refunds. And then, oh boy, Drake, this is where Lalo, he's fascinating me because, like, on some level, I feel like again, like we saw with with his immediate neighbors, like this dude is pretty much like a folk hero to a certain subset of people. Just in the sense of, like, he does murder these guys, but he gets all these people's money back too, so it's like there is a certain air of respect that he's commanding towards these people. Does that make sense? Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
No,
So
yeah,
that,
no.
that was my read on it, Dragon. That was my read on it. Is that, like, no matter where Lalo goes with his people, like, he's striving to be like almost like a Robin Hood kind of figure.
Yeah, there's absolutely a Robin Hood kind of esque element to
Which
it
is
there. I mean,
fascinating considering, like, he's by far the most terrifying villain in this whole universe that we've seen.
Yeah, and the fact that we killed these guys off screen so horrifically, and I love it. It's like, how the heck does Lalo kill these guys like just that easily? And it's like they were armed, and he took them both out. I'm assuming without a gun, even honestly. But
I mean, it's like we always joked about the cousins being Terminators, but Dragon, I think Lalo Salamanca is the Terminator of the Albuquerque verse.
Oh, you saw him. I mean, the man is very agile. He climbed up that roof tile and he kind of plopped down the other side to kill poor Fred Whalen.
Oh God.
So yeah. But again, there's like that folk hero element of like, I'm sorry, folks, you're gonna have to find a new way across. He redistributes the money, grabs his cash, the keys to the truck, and he's heading back to Mexico, presumably to find Nacho.
All right, and that's where part 1 ends. And folks, make no mistake, we will be covering the second episode, which is already out, of course. So we'll be covering that Thursday night. Dragon, any final thoughts on Wine and Roses as an episode?
Again, it's again, the opening just sets the tone. I love that Nacho is very much in the end game now. I think we've set the pieces up so well in our premiere. Again, we're seeing the masterpiece Khan at work, and again, we're it's set up definitely, but I like that you're feeling kind of the resonance and finality of all the arcs. I think that really did permeate this. You're feeling like, okay, these like we're closing the loop on a lot of stuff here, and I know there's like something kind of special about that. You kind of that was conveyed. So I thought it was a very effective start to our story. It definitely had the bases loaded with the opening, but yeah, we're laying the track well. And again, I'm just marveling at kind of the Howard Hamlin con that's unfurling. Of course,
I'm marveling at it, but at the same time, Dragon, like I said, it makes me a little sick. It makes me a little sick with how morally wrong it is too. So, but I love it. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying it's Vince Gilligan at his best. It's like, I love it when the heroes like kind of turn despicable to a certain degree.
Yeah. All right, so I guess that all that said, again, folks, we're going to be back with episode 2 later this week. So look forward to that, just to let you know.
As well as a Ride Stormin episode specifically designing our Better Call Saul / Breaking Bad themed land, which has been in the works for a few weeks now. So excited to finally bring that to you guys.
Yeah. Also, thanks to Anthony Smith for stopping by.
Indeed.
All right.
All right.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
I know. I've got this stupid image thing. Is the image still up?
Yeah, the image is still up, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. And with that, we are adjourned.
We could totally be lawyers.
Totally. Oh, here comes the violence. It always comes to this.
Always the violence.